Okay, does anybody have any Bible questions today? All right, so, okay. There we go. All right, we're going to talk about the function of the church again today. This time, though, we're going to start off a little bit differently than we did last week. Last week we mainly had a couple Bible verses we looked at, had some good discussion. But today we're going to start off by talking not about the church, but about something that we're all a little bit more familiar with. Whether you're a mom or a dad or a brother or a sister, you'll be able to answer these questions. Okay, so here's the question: What does it take? What are the components necessary to raise a healthy child? All right, food. Any kind of food? Junk food? Sweets all day? It's a healthy food, so it has to be right. So it has to be the right kind of food. All right.
Are you talking about a healthy child, all around child? Not just food. You're talking about their whole life.
Everything.
Yeah. Okay.
So we have shelter. All right. Okay, stability. If you can't see this, I'll move out of the way here in a second. Love. Okay. What else?
There's one thing that always is important to me is respect. Respect for self and for others.
All right, respect. What else? Okay, so we need some spiritual guidance as well. I'm not the best speller. Guidance. All right, what else? Discipline. Ooh, there's a good one. See, y'all have your kids running around crazy, but they're nice. They're nice and fat. They've got good attendance at Bible class, but they're just running around all over the place. But okay, so Laura adds discipline. Okay, what else? What else can you think of? Anything? What about school? What about education? What about I guess this fits into love, but like spending time with them, a relationship, having a good relationship with the kids. Lonnie? Oh, sorry. Well, let's just add one more and we'll be done. What's one more thing that might be necessary? Okay, yeah, that's good. Well, social interactions. I was thinking more about the family relationship,
Right.
But on that wise, let's do this. What about fun? Does the kid need to have fun to be able to be balanced, to be able to be healthy? It can't just be all serious all the time. Otherwise, that's not what a kid is about. We think about kids, we think about fun, play, all this kind of stuff. So if you put all this into one package, and you give that package to a kid, the kid's going to grow up healthy, the kid's going to be balanced, the kid's going to grow, right? He's not going to be, he or she's not going to have any shortcomings. He's going to have a good education. You're going to have a good relationship with him. This is going to bring about, love and respect. You're going to have fun. You're going to give them spiritual guidance, give them discipline. It's going to be stable. And also they're going to get the good food and protection that they need. So, applies to a child. Let's take this and go to Acts chapter 2 and see how this applies to the church. So what we have in all this, we can boil it down to a few. We have fellowship. We have discipleship, learning, teaching. All right, let's see. So we have fellowship. We can take that relationship one. We got learning. Let's see. Love, we can even add there. Stability would be a good one to put in fellowship. A lot of these are fellowship type ones. We have, let's see. You take care of them, and so in a way that's ministry, right? That's a part of the church. Is you have to take We have to help out each other. We have to take care of each other, take care of people in the community. Okay, we have, let's see, fellowship, discipleship, ministry. We have, let's see, spiritual guidance. In a way, that's discipleship, but in a way, also that's sort of teaching them how to be a Christian, and that's a function of the church as well, right? To teach the world, to show the world how to be a Christian. And so you have, we'll call this one evangelism. And also this fun. How would you put fun into a discussion about the church? What's something that we do that can be fun?
A lot of things could do.
Well,
Together,
as a church.
Spending quality time,
So
as a church, going to activities, maybe sitting down and having discussions with them.
yeah, that can be fun. What about singing? Do you like to sing? Make a joyful heart in the noise, and so we can even add worship in here. So I'm going to submit to you that that you can't see all this. I'll rewrite it up here in a second. But I'll submit to you that the same things necessary to have a child grow healthy, to have a child be healthy, which leads naturally to growth, is the same things that a church needs to be healthy, which also leads naturally to growth. So let's take a look at Acts chapter 2 again. This is what I had us read last week. Acts chapter 2 and verse 42. He says, Acts chapter 2 and verse 42. They were continually. So let's talk about that word for a second. Do you ever stop giving food to your child? If you ever take away one of these things, then you have unbalance there, right? And the child no longer has a balanced life, and so the growth isn't going to be as good as it could be. So he says they continually devoting themselves to the apostles' teaching, to fellowship, to the breaking of bread, and to prayer. Everyone kept feeling a sense of awe, verse 43, and many wonders and signs were taking place through the apostles, and all of those who had believed were together and had all things in common. And they began selling their property and possessions and were sharing them with all, as anyone might have need. Day by day, continuing with one mind in the temple and breaking bread from house to house, they were taking their meals together with gladness and sincerity of heart, praising God and having favor with all the people. And the Lord was adding to their number day by day those who are being saved, or such as should be saved. So, you see in this short passage about the local congregations in Jerusalem, what they did, how they functioned, what their role was. And these weren't things that they had to be taught how to do per se. These are things that they naturally did as the body of Christ. They naturally wanted to get together in fellowship. They naturally wanted to worship and praise God. They naturally wanted to share that good news to others. They naturally wanted to learn more about God, and they naturally wanted to share, their love with the community. And so these are natural functions of a healthy church. Now, just like with a child, when a child is healthy, what does the child do? It grows. And so if we reach a balance as a church, then what will we naturally begin to do? Grow, naturally begin to grow. And so what we're going to do today is evaluate ourselves and see if we can't determine what we can do to become more healthy, right? Maybe areas that we need to focus on and work on to become a healthy church so that we also can grow, all right? So you have different types of churches just based on which one of these 5 things that they focus on. And let me go ahead and rewrite these across the top, that way you can see them. But you can pretty much categorize any group of Christians by which one of these 5 things they really focus on a lot. And I know that you already know which one of these it is, okay? But let's take a look. So we have fellowship. When you think of a church whose primary focus is fellowship, what is their day-to-day activities like? What does their church look like?
Doing things together.
Doing things together, like what?
Like county, something like that, or, you know.
Yeah, potlucks, right?
Yeah,
Stuff like that.
Done things that, you know, not at night, but in the daytime, so people could see together, you know, and, this is what the apostle did, I mean, what they were doing there. They was having to do stuff there, you know, and letting the community to see the interaction going on, that they might want to come in.
Yeah, so they go, you know, they go on trips together, they spend time together, they eat together, they fellowship together, right? And so you know, you've probably maybe even been a part of a congregation that was all about fellowship. Pretty much the question on Sunday was, hey, what are we doing this week? Where are we going to go eat? Whose house are we going to? What activities we're going to take part in? You know, you're at least probably familiar with a congregation that's like that. It's all about the fellowship. Now, we have another category here. I'll write it up here so you can see it. Discipleship. Now, this is about teaching. This congregation, when you think about a congregation that focuses on discipleship, you think about, it's all about what do we know? How can we grow in our knowledge? How can we grow more and more and learn more and more? So what kind of things would you expect to see in a church that's focused on discipleship? Teaching, right?
Number one is putting things into action that you know, not just learning and just sitting by doing nothing.
Right. Well, their main emphasis is on learning, and a lot of times they don't always put them into practice like they should. That would be more of a balanced church that did that. So discipleship. So in a fellowship type of church, what kind of activities would the preacher be engaged in, do you think? Yeah, that the preacher. I mean, in a fellowship type of church, what's the preacher going to do most of the time? Out visiting, right? Lonnie?
Right. Number one, I would say getting things together to do things in the community or whatever.
Right.
Or going on.
In a discipleship church, type of church, what kind of activities does the preacher engage in, do you think?
Setting things in order.
Teaching, probably studying, right? Going to lectureships, if they're all about teaching, okay. Number 3, we have a church that focuses on ministry. What I mean by that is serving. So what kind of things would you expect more of a ministry focused church to be doing? Visiting the sick, helping out the community.
Those that need help and stuff like that.
Maybe
like somebody get burned out or somebody, you know, need help or anything.
Sure.
You can do.
And they would be known for their ministry, right? So they would probably volunteer together, like at some type of charity event or something like that. Maybe like a Habitat Humanity, some sort of volunteer program they'd probably take part in. Okay. And that's probably what the minister would be doing the whole time, the preacher would be doing, right? Is always visiting in hospitals all day, praying with people, going out and volunteering in the community, helping clean up the streets and stuff like that. That's the kind of thing that you would expect from more of a ministry-focused congregation. Now this is an easy one. Evangelism. What type, if a congregation's primary focus is evangelism, what do you think you're going to see in them? Right, door knocking, personal work, hanging up signs around the community, putting out, advertisement. Hey, come be with us, come see us. Let's learn about Jesus, and sharing the gospel with your friends and your neighbors. That's the kind of thing you expect to see from a church that's more evangelistic. Now, what about this one? Worship. What do you think a congregation that's main focus is on worship? How do you think they're going to be? Singing, praising, right? All that kind of stuff. Do you think that there'll ever be a time when there's a baptism on Sunday that they might be a little bit confused about the order of worship, and we all kind of are thinking about different things about when stuff is supposed to happen? Do y'all remember when that happened? See, but a church that's only focused on worship, they're going to know, okay, John's going to get up, he's going to sing this song. Craig's going to get up, he's going to pray this. You know what I mean? So they're all focused about the worship, and we're so excited about the baptism, we kind of forget about that, right? And that's I'm not getting on to you. I'm just saying that's we're trying to picture what each of these congregations would be. Okay, so it's not wrong to have focusing on discipleship. By the way, which one of these do you think describes our congregation? probably the most. Worship, really? Okay. Fellowship.
That's the only time we ever seem like.
We don't fellowship a lot with others, but we do, I think, more here when we meet up here.
Right.
Because we don't hardly ever, I don't just branch out and just go to people's houses all the time.
Well, this is more about fellowship with each other. Right. Ashley?
Yeah, that word fellowship, when you first asked how we would describe it, to me it's kind of like context, because some people define fellowship as, well, we come together once or twice a week. You know what I'm saying? Opposed to fellowship being, we come together outside of this building.
Let me read you the.
So for me, I would define us as fellowship because we really don't come together as much as we could or should. I mean, we have Christmas party. We don't really do a lot of fellowship in my opinion. So that's why, to me, I wouldn't describe it at this present time with that word.
Read verse 46 in the section we're just at. Day by day, continuing with one mind in the temple and breaking bread from house to house, they were taking their meals together with gladness and sincerity of heart. So there's what fellowship looks like.
Right.
At least that's one way that it can be manifested. I mean, here's where I'm at. This area, personally. I mean, my days are spent locked in my office studying the Bible, putting stuff together, typing up material for you, right? I'm not very balanced when it comes to these other areas, you see? And you could probably all evaluate yourself, because that's kind of tough to say, recognizing that you're not balanced, but you can probably all evaluate yourself and see sort of where you fit and where we fit as a congregation.
One thing that we need to realize is that during this time, they were able to do this, but now, today, we can't do all of this.
Why not?
In a day like they are doing, because of different people's having jobs and everything else I'm talking about. But what was going on this time, they were together because they didn't get out and do a lot of other stuff, because the people were selling things and giving, what they had.
Sure.
In this period of time, but today we can be better off if we did things in our spare time,
Right.
doing things together,
All right, Johnny?
And Melania mentioned about doing this particular time that I hope I'm on the same page he's on. At this particular time, this was when all these Jews from all over the nation,
Sure.
they had together there in Jerusalem,
Right.
and these people were still there after they was converted. So these people were without means of their livelihood.
Right. Now
So
that's
the
true.
church there was trying to assist them.
Yes, that's true. That's true. That's one reason why they did take the drastic measures they did, is because all these people are now, they're kind of cast out of the synagogue, so to speak. So they need some help. Zelda.
I think too that you have to really know people, because even we come together on Sundays and Wednesdays, but you have to know people and want to know, hey, is it okay for me to drop by your house? Is it,
Right.
because there's certain people don't want you always dropping by their house all the time. They don't want you to come to their house unannounced.
Right, that's true.
Um,
That's true. Yeah, that's true. Lonnie?
But if you're knocking on doors, ain't nobody inviting you there to begin with. They didn't invite you. You're doing it, so you're knocking on their door. But if we could call people that we know, even friends that we used to be with when we was younger, that we went to school with or something like that, just call them a friendly call or something like that, or maybe ask them would they like to come around and go and have something, like a little get together or something to get somebody's attention. When I'm out, walking, doing something, I walk up to people and ask them, I'm one that say, you look familiar to me, I think I know you, and I tell them my name, and then they can tell me their name. If they don't, I ask them, what their name, ask them are they related to.
Right.
Some kind of way to communicate. We are not really getting out and communicating with the public and talking. That's another term. We think we got to be the one doing all the talking or teaching. We need to talk to people, but listen to what they have to say too.
That's a good point. We do have to listen, and that's one thing that I try to do when I'm out is I casually talk to people, tell them where I, tell them where we attend. No kidding, Laura and I were out the other day, and I talked to a couple different people, and every person I talked to was coming into town to look at the antiques. They don't even live anywhere close to here,
Right.
so they still know about us though. I don't know which one of you raised your hand first, but we'll just go front to back. Ashley.
I agree with what you're saying, Uncle Ronnie, but before we can go out and try to communicate with others, we need to build our internal relationship. Because
Just for
it's
the
really,
inside.
it's not what it should be, is what I'm getting at. You united as a family, you present as a united front, it does a lot more when you try to invite others in. You invite others into a situation that's kind of, not as cohesive as it should be. It doesn't come off well.
Right. Ms. Zelda?
People have to be able to see what's going on. And if we don't start visiting with each other and having a interrelation with each other, how can you expect to go out and bring somebody in? What you gonna do? Go out and bring them in, and then when they come in, they're gonna leave again. They're gonna leave because there's nothing going on here. They don't see no relationship here. So we have to start from what we have inside, and then branches out. People will be able to see the love and connection that we have, and we showing each other fellowship. We're fellowshipping with each other from the inside, and then branching out.
Right. Well, that's what I'm trying to say, is that when you have all these components in balance, naturally you begin to grow. Ms. Joyce, and then Mr. Lonnie.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like I actually said, we have to, within the church, we have to love one another and show that love, and the world can see that love too also. But we come together as Christians and things on Sunday and maybe Wednesday, and see that person or nothing else, or call them or nothing else, or be around them. So I mean, that's not, I don't think the Lord would want us to be. I know I don't know visit or nothing like I should or nothing else, or call, but I know it's right for us to do that.
Yes, that's right. And that's everybody can grow. Every congregation in the world has an opportunity to, when I would say grow, I mean grow themselves. Grow as Christians, grow as a congregation, in the sense of, togetherness. So everybody has room for improvement. But what you have to first do is recognize that there is room for improvement, and then you can improve upon that. So fellowship, let's start here. Fellowship. Oh yeah, sorry about that, Lonnie. I forgot that you had your hand up.
No, that's why I said earlier, when you learn something, you're not going to put it into action, you're going to forget it. That's why it's important when you learn something, try to use it. And the people that come up with this thing, what we are not doing, need to put forth the first step and start doing it.
Right, exactly.
It's important, that we don't just talk the talk, we pray that we walk it also. Because if we know these things are going wrong, why don't we start doing it, and then maybe the rest will follow.
Right. Zelda?
Yesterday would have been a great example. It was a great example. I mean, we just asked for a few hours to come down here and help participate in doing the building. How much effort did you get? We got a few people that came, but it has to start starting off with a small step, such as that yesterday.
Right.
And if we all could, in order for us to really try to grow, make a small step.
Right. At the same time.
Then we can branch us out. But
Right. At the same time, projects like that, 9 o'clock in the morning, that's hard for everybody to get to. But we are very appreciative of everybody that wanted to be there and everybody that could be there. I know a lot of us were tired from a week's long at work and things like that. Lonnie?
That's something I heard when I was a little boy. He used to say all the time, 1 month you don't stop the show. So if things have been done,
What?
we shouldn't. Or if
All right. Okay, let's talk about fellowship then. And I appreciate all your comments. Let's move on. Fellowship. So, what are some things that a local congregation can do to improve fellowship?
Well, one thing that growing up at the congregation where I was at, every month we had like a little get together at each other's houses, and so somebody would on the sign up sheet volunteer. This month, everybody come to my house, and so we would all just gather at that person's house, and we'd have a little Bible study lesson, and we would just eat, and it was more time to just get to know each other and talk. And sure, we had a lesson, but the main point was to just get together and make sure that we were all catching up with each other.
All right, that's a good idea. What else? What's some other things that you can do to improve the fellowship aspect of a congregation? Yes, sir.
First, you need to identify what fellowship is each individual person.
Right.
Then after you identify what fellowship is each individual person, then you set goals or gates, and you meet those goals or gates.
That's perfect. That's right. See, we need you here every Sunday. Help us out. That's perfect. So one thing that we're going to do over the next few weeks is I told you we're going to have 5 lessons or six weeks of this. This is week 2. What we're going to do next week is to cover some of these steps and kind of knock them all out in the span of 4 weeks. And that's one thing we're going to do is define them all biblically, go through what everybody's expectations are, and try to meet those goals for ourselves. So you're reading my thoughts. Laura.
Another thing I was going to mention is in verse 44 where it says all the believers were together and had everything in common. I think, in the context of this passage, it is saying that the things they had in common were that they were all selling their possessions and that they were all going out and trying to grow. But you can also make the application towards us that do we even know what we really have in common? Like, I know I'm new here, so I don't know you all that well, but I think a part of fellowshipping is that you get to know each other enough that you could discuss your interests and know what you have in common.
I've got one. Zelda mentioned church trips or something like that, going out together, something like that. Here's a long-term plan, October 18th through the 21st. October 18th through the 21st is a conference up in Memphis, Tennessee. And if you wanted to, we could, as a group, go to that conference, rent a van, something like that, and go up there and spend a few days, listen to the Bible being taught by some very good teachers. We had to leave on this day, come back on this day, and the conference is on the 19th and 20th. And then I'll come back down. That's 13 hours stuck in the car with me, if that's something you'd be interested in. Long-term thing. Think about it. Okay, so we have some good ideas for fellowship, and I know there's more. We'll talk about those next week. This is just to get us started. What about discipleship? What I mean by discipleship is teaching. Oh, man, I didn't mean to write that. It's teaching in the congregation, teaching people that are already members. This is not evangelism. This is teaching us. So, one important part of discipleship, as is with all of this, is balance, right? You need to have a balance. So have you noticed, well, we've intentionally done this, why are we not talking about Revelation Sunday morning, Sunday night, and Wednesday night?
Because that's a deep topic, and you got people visiting. You don't want to just bombard them with that's a lot of information. And you really got to go in depth and really have a decent base of the Old Testament and a lot of things. That's a lot to throw on. That's heavy to put on somebody.
That's true, but what else?
And besides that, you have so many that's absent during that particular time, and each week you have to go back to bring them up to where we are. If not, then they're going to miss out on the whole festival.
Yeah, if you miss one Sunday and one Wednesday because you're sick, you've missed 3 lessons right in a row. But even maybe even something else, another part of that, Laura?
I was going to say, you don't want to just focus on one thing. There's lots of things in the Bible we want to talk about and learn about. So, it's good that in the Sunday morning class and then the Sunday night class, we're learning about different things so that we kind of get a little bit of everything.
Right. So another part of we talked about food a while ago. Food's important for a kid. If the kid eats broccoli every single meal, and that's all he eats is a big old plate of broccoli, that's going to get real old real fast, right? That's not the kind of that's not the kind of diet they need. You know, they need all types of, you know, proteins and all the different vitamins and things like that. They need to spread it out a little bit, okay? But what we do if we have a lesson only on Revelation, that means we're only talking about the coming of the Lord for 3 lessons a week, over and over and over. Is that fun? I love it. It's fun for you, right? But at the same time, just because I like to eat cakes all day doesn't mean that I should. And so what I'm trying to do is we're talking about more simple, you know, stuff on Sunday morning. So, and even in the Sunday lessons, I'm going to try to keep it more balanced. Sunday night, we're talking about the minor prophets. That's sort of a unique thing that we haven't, you know, that we don't study that much. And then Wednesday night, we have our cake and we eat Revelation, right? And so we're having, you know, try to have a balanced diet. So that's an important part of teaching is balanced. What's another thing that we could do to improve the teaching? And I know that you're talking, you know, you're talking to me here. What's some things we could do to improve the teaching?
Well, I don't know if this would go under this or fellowship, but another thing at the church I grew up that they would have like maybe once a month do like a men's breakfast, and the men would come together and talk about things that, you know, men as Christians and women as Christians, you know, we have different things that we need. So the men would have a prayer and a breakfast and learn, you know, a little lesson, and then the ladies might have like a ladies' day where they come together and they talk about, as ladies, what do we need and what should we be doing as Christians and servants. And
So like small focused groups.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, sir.
We talk about topics that we need to teach,
Right.
but we need to talk about our delivery service, how we deliver it. But actually engaging through technology more, because people learn more through technology, with visual tools, the plethora of things we can talk about on balancing the delivery.
Yes,
How
that's true.
people learn.
Which is why we broke out the whiteboard for this one, so you have visuals. But on that, Ashley had a great idea eventually about technology and visual stuff. You want to share that real quick?
Well, one, I'll share that. Also, I was gonna say, I do appreciate the fact that, we are now online and we have, all of our classes and lessons are on YouTube and Facebook. So, you know, if you miss a lesson, you still aren't behind because you can always catch up, and there's a lot of material that's out there so that we can listen to and keep ourselves uplifted. So I do appreciate that. And also when we did cleanup yesterday, we located a projector screen. So in the future, I would like to see if we can have it set up and be able to do, like, for Dan to be able to do PowerPoint presentations as another learning tool for people. So we, you know, we have a lot that we're doing technologically, just even since Daniel has come, that I feel is very helpful. And we're getting a lot of views on YouTube, a lot of views on Facebook, reaching a lot of people. I believe that's how we reached this lovely couple here. So the information is getting out there, and so I want to acknowledge that.
Yeah, great suggestions. Great suggestions. Okay, we are getting better at having engagement in the class, you know, especially in Bible classes like this. I don't hardly do any of the talking anymore. You communicate with each other, and that's a good part of learning too. Okay, number 3, we need to talk about ministry. So these are all components that we need, and they need to be balanced. What are some things that we can do to be better at ministry to ourselves and to the community?
I think more outreach into the schools. I mean, me being a
You're just biased. No, I'm just-
I was gonna
outreach
say,
into the schools.
personally, me being a teacher, I just see the huge benefit that we could have by reaching out to the schools. And we only have Jaden and Cherish here as
Yeah.
children.
Yep.
Maybe if we did some more outreach and getting to know the schools, and, you know, like that day where we went to the college and I picked up supplies as a teacher for free. Like, if we got in on that maybe next year and just had a little booth with something that we could give the teachers. And also they did a thing where, I don't know where it was, but somewhere in the community they had a day where the kids could come and get free supplies. So kids that need supplies, those are 2 good ways we could get to know people that are at the schools. and
Yeah, that's good.
draw more people in.
That's good. All right, so some outreach stuff, ministry stuff.
I think it should be more programming. What I mean by programming is we have to become engaged with the community.
Okay.
We got to develop programs, do needs assessment of the community, and actually do programs, tailor programs that actually fit the needs of the community, and we will get people's attention.
Right.
We have to. I wrote a methodology called RAIN. It's if you will, you get a reward. If you're authentic, people will appreciate you. If you're interesting, people will inquire. They'll start asking you questions. But you have to control the narrative. And I think through our ministries, we're not controlling the narratives because we're not making enough noise.
Right. Huh. That's interesting. Rain. Okay. I'm gonna try to remember that one. If you got some material, I'd love to see it. Ashley, did you?
Yes, I think programming is good. We have to, I think one of the main things when you're talking about ministry and identifying what the community needs versus what we can do, we need to pick whatever we're going to do, something that is sustainable and that we can actually do and that everybody is going to be on board with. Because the worst thing you can do is put your neck out there or say you're gonna do something and then not follow through. That's, to me, that's worse than not doing anything. You know, if you say you're gonna do it, you come together and you do it.
Right. That's good. Here's another thing we need to keep in mind. We're not doing this. You have to keep this in perspective. We're not doing this to grow. We're doing this to be healthy.
Right.
This is what we need as a congregation. The growth naturally comes when you're a healthy congregation. This is not advertising techniques. We wouldn't get a projector like Ashley's talking about to try to bring people in or draw people in. We're not going to diversify our teaching to try to draw people in. We're doing that because that's what we need as a congregation. Zelda.
You know, we said that we need to utilize this stuff as something that we need to help us to grow.
Right.
One thing that I see that we should start immediately doing something, a fundraiser, not a fundraiser, but a fun day for kids. Because if we didn't do it but once a month, or once every other month, doing something that we can do, he had suggested that we put up some nets, play volleyball, have hot dogs, do stuff like that there, and just invite the community.
Ms. Joyce.
Okay, all this, right, has been brought up before. The nets, the wiener roast, I checked with the wiener roast, the one reason we couldn't have it is because it's right beside the road. We can write, we can talk, but we, like Ashley said, do it. All this was brought up. Ronnie and I have like 50 book covers that I had suggested. You know, when you get the kids, give them these book covers. We're going to give them. You know, donate them. All this has been brought up. Pick one thing, okay, let's do it next month.
Right.
But do it.
I agree.
And another thing is respect. Like Ronnie said, if you're not gonna have respect for one another around here, don't start. Don't even put yourself on this pedestal. Respect one another. And we can work together then.
Right. I totally
Pick one
agree.
thing, let's do it next month.
Sounds good to me.
Sounds good to me.
Let's. Yeah, I think we need to start as soon as possible.
Yeah. And
Let's.
advertising, excuse me, advertising, like that,
Shop.
that thing.
The shop.
No.
Oh, the live stream.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay,
Lonnie's got numerous t-shirts that people can wear. It's got the name, the program, the website, everything.
Right.
All this has been brought up.
Right, and that's why we're bringing it up again. So, like you said, so we can get it done.
Pick one and do it, you know.
Sounds good. Yes, sir.
It sounds like you need it needs to be structured. And what I mean by structured is someone has to be in charge. Someone has to be in charge. Different ministries everybody probably don't want to do A, and everybody in this group may not want to do B. But if you got a person that's actually in charge of A, then A actually has to drive that that activity. Whoever's in charge of B has to drive that activity. But when you say the whole group, some people may not like to go out in the sun, so they don't come to the volleyball game. Some people may like to cook. That can be another ministry. So they like to cook dinners on a Saturday and invite everybody down. So I think you have to not just say, hey, as a group, we're going to do a certain activity, but Brother Richardson is in charge of activity A, and he will put his team together, and he will drive. It's actually assigned responsibilities, so you have a better outcome.
Right, and that's it's kind of like with what we did yesterday. You know, not everybody could be here to help clean, but you know, that's one talent that some people have. We need to put those talents to work for sure. Let's hurry up and get these last two done, and then we'll go ahead and finish the class. Evangelism. I know this is one of the things that Lonnie loves to do the most is evangelism. What are some things that we can do as a congregation to be more evangelistic?
Well, I keep bringing up ideas that from the church I grew up at because that's just what I know. But they had this really neat thing where they made up kind of little business cards, and just when you go out to eat, you might leave it on the table, or you might contact other restaurants that sometimes they have little pamphlets already on the table with businesses and ask them if it's okay to advertise there. Just little things like that will get people's attention.
All right, so that's one thing. I was talking to Ashley yesterday about when you move into a new town, you don't know all the numbers that you have, like the sewage number, you know, the number for the sewage people that come cut all that on, the number for the electrical group, you know, the trash pickup and all that. One thing that I saw one group did was they got the new homeowners list each month, and they actually had a magnet printed out with a lot of information, and it said, you know, from your friends at the Hickory Street Church of Christ or whatever on it, and maybe a little bit of information about Bible class times and stuff like that, and sent that out because that's something that everybody needs. But well, that kind of goes along with what Laura was saying. What are some other evangelism things?
I think I have to go back to technology again, because when you're looking for a new pair of shoes, you go online and you search for a pair of shoes, and we tend to find the pair that has the most content is the one we buy, whether it's the best pair of shoes or not. So we gotta make some noise by actually entering this space, this technology space, and create content that help people. People tend to want to follow people that help them. So we got to create more content that people can read or people can visually see that will help them.
Right. Sounds good. Laura?
I think the Facebook page that we've created is going to be a huge tool that we need to start utilizing more and pushing that out there, because we can put, you know, our lessons out there for people to listen to and things like that. And I don't know, there's tons of people on Facebook, so in this area even, they'll see it more.
We have like 140,000 people within like a 25-mile radius is what on Facebook is what the ad said online. So there's something. Zelda, are you? Okay, just messing with your necklace. Okay, what's another evangelism thing that we can do as a congregation?
Social media is okay. It's good. It's great. You know, I'll be reading them all the time. But I think we need to follow up with face to face. Number one, there's a lot of people that don't know what Facebook is. They don't know what a computer is. You know, and face to face, I think will.
They were laughing that they don't know what a computer is. They're agreeing with you.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people that don't. You know,
Right.
That's true.
That's right.
You know, the last job I had, I was teaching computers, and there was people that 80% of people I worked with didn't know what computers were. You know.
Right. So along case, I think there's two things that we can do that we talked about yesterday. One is Ashley has these cards that she used to give out, I guess.
No, I don't know who made those, but we found some thank you cards. I was telling him, you know, as we have
I was sending a card, Sam had asked me. I was actually sending a card with a little saying,
Right.
thanking them and stuff,
Right, so we can follow up with that. We'll talk more about this as the weeks go on. Finally, we have worship, just things that we could do to improve that. We already have all the song leaders lead songs, and they have that kind of stuff figured out. So we'll focus more on that one whenever the week comes, but we're kind of past time. But Ashley?
The only thing on the worship, I would love to see us, do like, gospel meetings or lectureships. That's something
Oh,
we
okay.
haven't done in a long time, that I think will be beneficial.
Got some meetings, lectures. Okay, perfect.
Let me, can I ask you a question?
Yes, ma'am.
We'll follow back up on this here on next Sunday?
Well, we're going to start in on number 1 next Sunday. Can somebody, I can do it. I'll take a picture of it. But does anybody else have anything to add? Any questions or comments? I know this was sort of an unorthodox type of lesson, but self-evaluation is something that everybody needs to do. I'm driving Laura crazy because I took a personality test that she gave me. It's like 200 something questions long, called an Enneagram test, and I'm a type 7 apparently. And so I've been reading up on that and seeing what I can do to improve myself. And so one of the things is what Joyce said is pick something, go with it, do it. Because what I do is I look at all this and I'm like, whoo, let's do it all, But Joyce is absolutely right. We have to pick something, do it, follow through. And so let's think about that. Let's think about that for sure. And then by Wednesday night, if we could, everybody come up with, let's try to agree on one thing that we can go and actually do. Okay? So, sorry, you only have 5 minutes to get up and visit and use the restroom, but we'll go ahead and take a break now.